Hello everyone, how's it going? I am WoWcrendor, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Crencast, which is me ranting about whatever I want in podcast form. I pretty much do this already when I do like WoW leveling or Let's Plays. However, I wanted a podcast style show where I don't have to focus on playing a game. I don't have to make it about gaming or do, like anything like that. I just wanted to rant. I just wanted a place where I could rant, and I did that a lot in Cox and Crendor. But now that we only do Cox and Crendor like once a month, I could do a lot of Cox and Crendors, as you can tell because I'm making this podcast right now. Jesse's always busy, and I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I want to rant, and I forget about stuff when Cox and Crendor happens, and I just want to be like, yo, here's what happened to me, and I want to rant about this thing, or I have this on my mind, I want to rant about this thing. And that just made me want to do a podcast. There's something about podcasting where I feel like a lot of people just really enjoy podcasting. It's an easy thing to do to get your opinion out there, right? It's an easy form of, it's internet radio. And radio's been around for so long. And there's a reason for it. People just like listening to other people talk, especially if it's about something they're interested in or it's relaxing, or, you know, whatever it may be. And I just thought, you know what? I want to do a podcast. One of my favorite podcasts is the Monday Morning Podcast, which is by Bill Burr. And that inspired me to do this because I always felt like, if I do a podcast by myself, it's probably going to be boring. Nobody's going to listen. It'll be dumb. But Bill Burr's done his podcast alone by himself, and it's great. And it's funny. And it made me realize that Let's Playing and doing stuff like that is pretty much the same thing, except you got a game running. And after you do that for a while, I mean, you can just do this. It's second nature, really. It's weird because when you're a YouTube person or a Twitch person, or whatever it is, you get used to just talking and being in front of a microphone. It's a weird. Because I remember when I first started doing YouTube and just putting myself out there. It's a weird barrier you have to get past of talking to the microphone like you're talking to another person. And it's not even like it's another person. It's like you're amping up your personality a bit. I don't just sit around all day or like go to play and be like, hey, wow, this is a crazy thing was going on. Like, I'm not like this level of energetic, which to most people, how I am right now is not even that energetic. This is just probably like normal human levels of energy and emotion. But for me, this is doing a lot. Like after I record this, I'm going to be like, oh my God. And then just not talk or hardly talk or watch TV or play a thing like WoW, whatever it is. So yeah, I mainly just wanted to create this to have a place to rant when I'm not doing Cox and Crendor. And so I don't have to like play a game that I have to rant along with. Because when you're playing a game, you're like, yeah, and there's the story and the thing. Oh, I got to do the thing. Hold on, let me go over here. And then you lose your track. You lose your train of thought. So many things. This is just you sit down, you rant. I can talk about whatever I want. Sports, topics that I think of, events that happened to me in the day. Like I said, sometimes things happen. I'm like, I'll bring it up on Cox and Crendor. And then we don't do one for so long. And I'm like, shit, dude, what was that thing I talked about? So I'm very excited to do something like this. And if you got any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. The first episode of everything is always bad, so I don't expect this to be very good at the start, and I expect it to get better over time, as most things do. So what am I gonna talk about first? I wanted to talk about infomercials, because if you've been following me on Twitter, you've been seeing that a lot of the times I upload little video clips from infomercials. I've been doing this on Snapchat as well a lot. And whenever you go to American TV at nighttime, I don't know about Europe or Canada or wherever else you are, because when I was in England, infomercials were definitely not the same as America. So, like late night in America, you turn on the TV, like 2, 3, 4 a.m., like middle of the night. you get infomercials. So it's like, hey, I'm Vince with Slap Chop, and I'm going to sell you a slap chop. Or like, hey, my name's Timmy the Tattoo Man, and I'm going to get you some tattoos for half price because I'm going to sell you this tattooing kit. You're going to do your own tattoos. Like, stuff like that. And it's always very cringy. And I think that's one of the funniest things about it. It's very try-hard, but it's very cringy at the same time. So, for example, I was watching, what was it, NutriBlend? I think it was the NutriBlend. And this NutriBlend, it talks about how you have all these fruits and vegetables, and you're like, oh yeah, I can just blend them all together and I'll make a smoothie. But it makes it out to be like this super machine. It's like, yeah, it's going to extract the nutrients from this amazing, this device is going to extract the nutrients, this amazing super device, and pull all of the healthy parts of the fruits and vegetables into your drink, and then you'll drink it and you'll be Superman and fly around and shit. So, they open up with a little thing like, are you tired of being lazy and sitting around and feeling like you got no energy? And everyone's like, yeah, I am. And so that just reminded me, first ever video I made was a thing making fun of infomercials, which was Shaman Wow, which was making fun of the slap chop guy. Off topic a little bit. But anyway, they're like, yeah, you tired of that? And you're like, yeah, of course I'm tired of it. And so then this guy comes on and he's like, introducing the NutriBlend. You just blend your shit together and you're going to be Superman. You're like, wow, okay. And it's like, and now here comes our host for the day, Bob Builder. And then Bob Builder comes out and he's like, hey, everybody, I just put together this fake audience we got here. And it's just a bunch of people that were hired to be there or paid to be there, or there's something influencing them to be there. Maybe they get a free NutriBlend. I don't know. And they're always just like, yeah, woo, with like just soulless eyes. They never have like real emotion. You know, you go to like a sports game or just any other event. It could even be an opera, just anything. And people look normal, or they're just very engaged in what they're watching. This is just like, yeah, all right. And you just look into their eyes and you just see darkness. It's just pits of reality just buried in there. And you keep, it's so bad because then they always invite on people that have stories. So they're like, here's a person that used the NutriBlend and really just had some great experiences with it. Check it out. And they're just like, my name's Tanya, and I've been using the NutriBlend for 14 years, even though it wasn't invented back then. But I just was so slow and old, and his life was the worst, but I got my NutriBlend, and it always plays that like really upbeat music after that. It's like, and then it's like, like after my NutriBlend, now I go biking. Now I see my family. Now I just do all these crazy fun things thanks to NutriBlend. And it's like, well, you probably started exercising. You probably started just living a healthier lifestyle in general, and that contributed to it. And then on top of it, you're like, oh, I got a NutriBlend. I'll make some fruits and vegetable smoothies or whatever you're going to make. Vegetable smoothie. I don't even think I've had a vegetable smoothie. It's always fruit smoothies. Can you make a vegetable smoothie? Hold on, I got to Google this. Vegetable smoothie. I guess you can. I mean, I guess they put like spinach and stuff in it. But they always mix it with other stuff. So I mean, if you put like an apple or what is this? Apple, kiwi, right? Fruits, then they're always like, and then throw in some spinach and some carrots and I don't know what else is on here. Yogurt. I guess we put yogurt in it. That doesn't seem that healthy. I guess some yogurt is, as I've talked about in other shows where I'm like super immunity, which isn't working right now because right now I have like stomach issues, which are very, very fun to deal with. Let me tell you, cauliflower, cucumbers, tomatoes, yeah, whatever. Okay, so that happens, and she comes on the show, and she's just like, "This is the best moment I've ever had in my life," and you're like, "Great, good for you. You changed your life around." And they're like, "You can too," and then it repeats the intro part. It keeps looping it every like 5 minutes. They do a thing, so it's just like, "Are you tired?" and blah blah blah, and then it's like, "Yeah," and they're like, "And now our next guest." It's like a mini TV show, which is I think the best part. There was one. There's one. It was a dancing. I don't think it was Nutriblend. I think it was like a dancing thing, like their Zumba or whatever it is. And this girl was like, "People used to call me Devin the Donut." And I don't know why. I just found that really funny. Just like I never knew anyone that would go out of their way to just call someone that aren't like their friends, right? Like if Sam's stripping, I am. I made fun of him. I made him his own little song. That's a thing. I make fun of Jesse. I make fun of all the people I talk to. But just to go up to some random stranger and be like, "Hey, you look like a donut. I'm gonna call you Devin the Donut." It's just like I don't see that happening. And maybe when you're a kid in school, but I don't know. I'm off track again. So back to the Nutriblend. The cringiest part about all this is they have these people sitting at like school kid tables, right? It's like they're in a classroom. That's what you call it. School kid tables. So they're in a classroom setting, and he's teaching them about nutrition. And he's like, "The Nutriblend, it extracts the spinach juice or whatever." And he's like, "Did you know that spinach is good for you?" And they just look at their notepads with their like pens. He's like, "Oh my God, gotta write this one down here." Yeah, like how do you not know spinach is good for you? Like, it's painful to watch, but it makes for great entertainment, which is why I've just been watching all of these at late night and putting up little Snapchat stories and Twitter videos. My favorite one was the other night. I put this one on Twitter. You go check it out. Is this guy who was demonstrating... What was he? Oh, a pillow. That's what it was. He's demonstrating a pillow and how it supports your neck. And he's like, "We're going to put a plate under the pillow, and we're going to take a bowling ball." He drops the bowling ball onto the pillow, and he's like, "Look, the plate didn't break." And I'm like, how does that show that my neck is going to be supported because it's like didn't break a plate when you dropped a bowling ball on it? Like, I'm not smashing my head on the pillow or something. I mean, it's just a dumb analogy. It's a dumb metaphor, and I don't get it. Which is another thing. Like, people love to use analogies and metaphors for everything, me included. I love analogies and metaphors, and I think it's because it's giving an example that you already know for something you might not know. So if you don't understand an issue or a problem going on, you're like, "Well, it's like this." So you're kind of taking it and showing a clearer example of what you're trying to explain. Does that make sense? Did I explain that well? Well, let me explain it this way. It's like a water bottle. You got the cap, you got the little wrapper thing around it that shows the brand of what you're drinking and all the information about it, and then it's made of plastic, and you can kind of squeeze it and everything. Like, people have to say, like, relationship is kind of like a tape dispenser. Like, you could really just pull random objects and be like, "The thing is like this thing." But it's also fun to do that, so I'm like, whatever. I'm making fun of myself as I say that. Nutriblend, that's where I was. So it's just, they have this fake classroom, these paid to be there people, a thing that's pretty much just a blender, a simple blender, and they're selling it for, was it like $120 or something? And the prices go up and up, and they're always like, "But wait, there's more. Act now, and we'll throw in some cheap little thing you'll never use and throw away when you get it." Or they're always like, "And you get 2 for the price of 1," which means they probably made it pretty cheap, and they're like, "Oh, we can give them 2. We'll still make money." And whenever they say, "I'll give you your money back," I feel like they never really like what am I trying to say here? They never okay. for example, it's kind of like a screwdriver, all right? Uh, when they say, and if you don't like it, just send it back and I'll give you your money back straight out of my pocket and stuff like that. They always make it really difficult. It's kind of like when Microsoft first started Xbox Live. It was really difficult to get your credit card off of that Xbox account or just cancel your Xbox. I remember I went to cancel it, and then I couldn't cancel it. And I was like, all right. And then I was like, well, what if I go online? I couldn't cancel it online. I had to call them and be like, I want to cancel it. And they're like, but do you want to cancel it? And I'm like, yes, I do. That's why I called you. Cancel it. And they're like, all right, but if you don't cancel, we got a special deal for you. And it's like, oh my God, just cancel the thing. So now they made it easier. It's that shady, scummy tactic they use, kind of like, let's make it really difficult for them to cancel. That way they'll give up and they won't cancel. It's like, ugh. First off, that just doesn't work. It's scummy, and it's nobody's gonna want to use your product. It's stupid. It's dumb. Where am I going with this? I don't know. Oh yeah, the whole money thing. They're like, buy a thing, get your money back. I feel like whenever they do that, that's what they're doing. They're making it really hard. So you're like, hey, I bought your NutriBlend product and I want to send it back, but I can't because I can't get through. I don't actually know if NutriBlend's like this. They might have great customer service. They probably do because they're like in Target and like big stores. I feel like they're fine. But some of these like smaller products like Jimbo's flash drives. I don't know. I just pick some up. Like Jimbo's flash drives, I don't like them, send them back. So you send it back and then you just don't hear anything from them. And you're just like, hello, I didn't like it. I want my money back. And then you wait like 2 months. They're like, yeah, we got your thing, but turns out we didn't approve your request, so too bad. Like, I'm sure that happens a ton. And that's just shady business type stuff. That reminds me of these books that you always see in the bookstores. Because these are also on infomercials too, where it's like the get rich quick books, right? Where they give you these simple steps to make it big. You're going to make it big. You're going to be a big star, all right? Just use these 5 simple tips I've created. It's always really simple, really easy tips too. Like these 5 simple, easy steps to becoming a millionaire. These are going to change your life. So obviously it's like the magic pill where you're like, oh, I'll take that and it's going to make me better. And you buy the book. You take it home, you read it, and it's like, step 1, start to keep track of your finances. And it's just really common knowledge, basic stuff. But it's not wrong. And I think that's the little gray area they try to hit. They give you advice that's not wrong, but it's not going to make you rich quick. So there's really no get rich quick thing, or everybody'd be buying it, everybody'd be getting rich, and then we'd have just economical issues, and it wouldn't work. So just all these infomercials. I remember there's one infomercial where this guy was talking about computers. What was it? This guy's talking about computers. He had like curly hair and he's in the studio and he's just like, I make money on the internet. And let me tell you what, Bob, I've been making money for so long on the internet. It's phenomenal. And you can too. He never says like what he does on the internet. He's just like, you can make money on the internet. And it's like, you can. You make money a lot of places, but it's going to take time probably. It may not happen. And he's always at the end of it like, you got to buy my book or go to my classes. That's the other thing they do. Come to my classes. I have classes happening over in San Jose. You just show up at this room and it's free. And then you get there, and every time I hear about that, they're like, oh yeah, I went to the class and it was cool. And then they're like, hey, if you want to get to the second class, that'll be like $2,000. And that's where they get you. That's where they start the scam. So you're like, okay. And then you do that and they're like, yeah, what was it? They did flipping houses. That's what it was. There's so many flipping houses things ever since they became big on HGTV. They're just like, hey, you want to flip a house and make a bunch of money? It's easy. I made billions of dollars flipping houses. You can too. God, they're the worst. They're the worst. They're not really the worst. They're just scummy. God, where did this start? This really has been a tangent. Infomercials, all that. All in all, that's how. All in all, that's how I always ended my papers in like English class. They're always like, "Don't end with all in all. It's not good. You shouldn't do it." And everyone would always still be like, "All in all, that was a great research paper, and I'm glad I wrote it. Please give me an A." And it stuck with me to never write all in all, and so I never wrote all in all ever again. But I'm sure it's not like a terrible thing to do in writing, but I think it's a cliche thing in writing. Usually you want to avoid cliches. So yeah, infomercials, they're pretty funny. I'm going to still make videos about them because they're funny on Twitter and Snapchat. I noticed in England, they didn't have infomercials, at least not from what I watched. They had two things. They had Cops, which is a very polite version of Cops compared to like America's version. And then they had Lottery. It was a lot of gambling and lottery. And it was really weird because we can't really do that over here in America. So when I was there, I was like, what is this? There's like, here's the lottery. Here's all this stuff you can win. And here comes George. He's going to try to win. And it's just like, what is this? Where's my infomercials? Where's my slap chops and NutriBlends? It's a confusing place, but it's still pretty entertaining. There's this other thing I was watching. I got a ham sandwich at the hotel. And then I was waiting. This was at CoxCon. I got a ham sandwich. I was waiting in the hotel room, watching TV, and I turned on, I guess, Big Brother, or a type of Big Brother show. And I was just watching it and waiting for something to happen, and nothing was happening. And I was like, when's the stuff happen? Right? I was like, I want to see the funny TV I'm not used to seeing because I don't live here. And it turns out this is just a live stream, a live feed of what they're doing in the house they're in, the Big Brother house. So they're just sitting there, and some guy's like, oh, let's switch to camera 2. And they go to camera 2, and it's just people talking on a couch. And that's it. That was it. Just people talking on a couch. And I was like, all right, this will get good. This will get good. Here we go. I'll just drink some water. We'll wait. This is gonna be great. And I sat there, and nothing happened. And then they're like, hey, get over here. So I'm like, oh, okay. They're gonna go do stuff. They're going to do stuff now. And they got up, and they go over to wherever the other people are, like the kitchen. And then they're just like, yeah. So I used to be in sales, and it's pretty interesting. And they're like, I used to live in L.A., came to England, went back to L.A., now I'm in England. And I was like, what is this? But it reminded me, one of the reasons I started non-content, and it's because I believed non-content, you can take that style of show, right? You can take that people just sitting around doing absolutely nothing, and you can put people that people know into those situations. So like Jesse, Total Biscuit, Dodger, any YouTuber, Twitch person that you're a big fan of, that a lot of people are fans of, and insert them into those situations and have them do anything. They could eat breakfast. They could write notes on a piece of paper. They could, whatever it is, whatever they're doing. And people be like, I want to see them do that thing because I like them. I like their personality and who they are. And I just want to see them do things, whatever it is. And I've always stuck to that motto. And I feel like some people are starting to adapt that now in the non-content world. And I don't know, man. It's one theory I've always believed in. I'm not saying that I invented it, because I'm sure many other people have thought that throughout the history of time, just not called it non-content. But I'm telling you, non-content, that's what's happening in England late night. But I didn't know any of the people, so I didn't care at all. All right. What else do I want to talk about? I can rant about sports. Cubs. Oh my God, Cubs are in the World Series. That was the best thing I've ever watched, I think, in sports. Actually, there's probably a few. I think the Packers in the Super Bowl, the Blackhawks Stanley Cup, and maybe Michael Jordan winning a championship. Those were all up there. Cubs winning and going to the World Series is probably in the top 5 things I've ever seen. Yeah, it's great. It went from like number 1 to like top 5. But it's still crazy, right? Because if you don't know, if you're not into baseball, the Chicago Cubs have not been in the World Series in 72 years. 72 years. That means that people who are old now, like even in their like 80s, were like 10 to 15, 20 years old back then. So many people have waited this long. That was when they were in the World Series. That's not even when they won it. Last time they won it was 1908. So it's been 108 years since the Cubs last won a World Series, which is why this is such a big deal, even to like non-sports fans. And Cleveland, I believe they haven't won in something like 70-something years. They haven't won a World Series in 70-something years either. So both of these teams are just really hoping they win. I hope the Cubs win because I'm a Cubs fan. It's looking like the Cubs are going to win just from statistics, like a statistics perspective. But I have no idea. I hope the Cubs win. They have good batting. They're heating up at the right time. Their pitching's good. They got a decent bullpen. They got Chapman, who's a good closer. But their middle relief bullpen is the kind of sketchy part. And then, I don't know too much about the Indians, but from what I looked at, they're a decent team. They're not a great team. They're a decent team. And they've gotten hot at the right time, which is really all that matters. And I've learned that from other sports, too. Green Bay, the Packers, 2010, when they won the Super Bowl, they were 10-6. So you play a 17-game season, you get a bye week, so it's like an off week, and then you play 16 games. And they won 10 of them. They lost 6 of them, barely made the playoffs, had to go on the road for every game, and they won all of them because they just got hot at the right time. Meanwhile, the following year, they won 15 games, lost 1, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs. And that was it. So, a lot of playoff atmospheres in all the sports is just getting hot in the right time and just getting, I don't know, I don't even know what to say, getting hot. I was just going to say getting hot again, but that was like, I already said that. What do I say? And then you just think about words and you stumble over your words. Isn't it weird how, I don't know if I'm the only one to do this, but when I want to say a word, sometimes I'll think of another word and then you say both words at the same time. I know a lot of people do this, but I do this a lot. So you're going to be like, I was feeling great today. And instead of saying I was feeling great today, you might say I was feeling awesome today. And you're like, I want to say I was feeling awesome, great. So you're like, I was feeling awesome today. And you kind of just combine it and your brain's like, God, what are you doing? You're so stupid. Why'd you do that? And you're like, brain, I didn't mean to do it. I was just trying to say 2 words and they blended together. And I'm like, nah. That happens a lot to me. Yeah. Either way, that's how I end a lot of things. Oh my God, I just realized that. That's how I end most of my videos when I think about it. Or actually streams. I don't know about videos, maybe videos too. I'm like, either way, this was fun. This was a good, and I just switch over. Everybody has their own thing. Everybody has their own intro, outro, the way they greet people, the way they say goodbye. And it just it becomes a routine in your mind, a habit. So I just say a lot of things. I say I say like a lot. I say, like, those are 3 things. And then either way, that's my other one. Either way, thanks for watching. So let's do that. Either way, thanks for watching or listening. If you're watching, there's nothing to watch. It's just a screen. You can watch if you want. Leave your comments below on what you thought of me just ranting for 30 minutes for the Crencast. I thought it was fun. I had fun doing it. I have fun anytime I just rant about stuff. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to put these on YouTube. I'm going to put them on SoundCloud. Probably some other places. See how it goes. And yeah. Okay. See you.